راديو المحطة الإذاعية الأكثر ثقة وشعبية في جنوب السودان، مدعومة بالاستطلاعات الأخيرة مع قاعدة مستمعين مخلصين. حتصل رسالتك إلى جمهور واسع بشكل فعال.
شبكة واسعة النطاق. آي راديو ليست مجرد محطة إذاعية، إنها شبكة من المحطات المترابطة. لم تكن شريك مع آي راديو. سنقوم ببث برنامجك عبر مواقع متعددة مثل واو، أويل، كواجوك، يامبيو، بور، رن، ملكال وبالية، وبيضمن أقصى قدرة من التغطية والتأثير.
التواجد الإقليمي بتمتد بصمة آي راديو إلى ولاية غرب وشمال بحر الغزال، غرب والاستوائية الوسطى، جونغلي، أعالي النيل ووراب. من خلال التعاون مع آي راديو يمكنك التواصل مع المجتمعات المتنوعة والجماهير المستهدفة في المناطق ديل.
مشاركة المجتمع. الشراكة مع آي راديو بتعني التعاون.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. Fast, here are the headlines. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces, SSPDF, have said they recaptured Tonga town in Upper Nile State from armed opposition forces after military confrontations. A human rights activist is calling on the United Nations to exclude the country's official delegation from the 8th United Nations General Assembly, arguing that sending them is a waste of resources while civil servants go unpaid in the country. The chairpersons of the State Youth Union in Western Bahr el Ghazal have raised concern over the growing trend of gangsterism and drug abuse among young people. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Darlington Moses. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces have said they recaptured Tonga town in Upper Nile State from armed opposition forces in what they describe as a successful military operation. Deputy Chief of Defense Forces for Operation Lieutenant General Kong Thao spoke to state-owned SSBC on Tuesday, saying regaining control of the town has led to resumptions of river transport connecting the town to Juba and some major cities in the country. The army stressed that the operations is part of the ongoing effort to restore stability and strengthen security in conflict-affected areas while pledging to protect civilians and rebuild war-affected communities. Residents of Tonga expressed relief at the government's return, voicing hope that it will end unrest and improve their daily lives. A human rights activist is calling on the United Nations to exclude the country's official delegation from the 80th United Nations General Assembly, arguing that sending them is a waste of resources while civil servants have gone unpaid for several months. Emmanuel released a statement after the South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation SSBC reported that Vice President Josephine Lagu will head South Sudan's delegation to the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York, scheduled for September 23rd to 29th, 2025. The announcement was made during the Vice President's meeting with the United Nations Deputy Special Representative to the South Sudan, Anita Kiki. In a statement released yesterday, Emmanuel argued that sending a delegation is a waste of resources at a time when civil servants have gone without salaries for over 36 months. He criticized the government of South Sudan for its failure to fulfill commitments in the revitalized agreement on the resolutions of the conflict in South Sudan, which he says had led to continued instability, human rights violations, and economic hardship. Gatwech stated that half of the population is either living as refugees in neighboring countries or internally displaced within South Sudan. He added that the entire nation is facing extreme poverty, while political leaders remain detached from the daily suffering of the people. Mr. Gatwech urged the international community, particularly the United Nations Secretary General, to stand with the South Sudanese people by refusing to grant the current delegation access to the United Nations General Assembly platform. He concluded that the people of South Sudan deserve durable peace, not diplomatic representation that does not reflect their sufferings or aspirations, adding that the international community must stand with the people, not with those who perpetuate their misery. This is iRadio News, and now before the international scene, the chairpersons of the State Youth Union in Western Bahr el Ghazal State has raised concern over the growing trend of gangsterism and drug abuse among young people in the state. According to Lino Gabriel Madud, these challenges are posing serious threats to the progress and future of the youth in the state. Lino noted that since the state government implemented a ban on illicit drugs in the area, there has been a notable decline in drug abuse among the youth. To address this, Madud says the State Youth Union had introduced a range of initiatives and programs aimed at engaging young people in the productive activities, fostering their youthful growth stages and contributions to the community. Lino is calling for investment in youth, emphasizing that empowering young people will yield long-term benefits for the entire community. He further appealed to the protections of young people and their rights, including freedom of speech and decision-making. And now to the international scene, Donald Trump has rejected suggestions that the warming of relations between China, Russia, and their allies poses a challenge to the U.S. on the global stage. The United Nations president told reporters in the Oval Office that he had a good relationship with President Xi Jinping. He said in a statement, and I quote, "China needs us more than we need them." It comes as Xi prepares to host world leaders at the Victory Day parade in Beijing on Wednesday, a showcase of China's military might. Xi will be hosting and joined by North Korea's Kim Jong-un and Russia's Vladimir Putin, viewed by some observers as a message to the Western nations that have shunned them. And finally, thousands of reservists have begun reporting for duty as the Israeli military presses ahead with its offensive to conquer Gaza City. Ground forces are already pushing into the outskirts of Gaza's largest urban areas, which the military has said is a stronghold of Hamas. The city is also coming under heavy Israeli aerial and artillery bombardment, with local hospitals saying that more than 50 Palestinians have been killed since the midnight. The military has ordered residents to evacuate and head south immediately. The United Nations says an estimated 20,000 have done so far over the past 2 weeks, but almost 1 million remain in their residence. This is iRadio News. And now to end this bulletin, let's have the news recap on the top stories once again. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces have said they recaptured Tonga Town in Upper Nile State from armed opposition forces what is described as a successful military operations after days of confrontations. A human rights activist is calling on the United Nations to exclude the country's official delegation from the 80th United Nations General Assembly, arguing that sending them is a waste of resources while civil servants go unpaid in the country. The chairpersons of the State Youth Union in Western Bahr el Ghazal State has raised concern over the growing trend of gangsterism and drug abuse among young people in the state. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X, iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic. At the top of the hour, I am Darlington Moses. Thanks for listening.
Africa radio partner, iRadio is your answer. Why choose iRadio? Here are the 5 compiling reasons.
Trust and reach. iRadio stands as the most trusted and popular radio station in South Sudan. Backed by recent surveys with a loyal listener base, your message will reach a wide audience effectively.
Extensive network. iRadio is not just a radio station. It's a network of interconnected stations. When you partner with iRadio, we'll broadcast your program across multiple locations such as Wow, Awil, Kwajok, Yambio, Bor, Rang, Malakal, and Baliet, ensuring maximum coverage and impact.
Regional presence. iRadio footprint extends to the states of Western and Northern Bahr el Ghazal, Western and Central Equatoria, Jonglei, Upper Nile, and Warab. By collaborating with iRadio, you can connect with diverse communities and target audiences in these regions.
Community engagement. Partnering with iRadio